Shalom and welcome to Bible Stories as Blueprints of the Soul, your Biblical Hebrew podcast. Shalom and welcome to our Biblical Hebrew podcast. Today I would like to speak to you about the difference between writing the Torah, writing the 5 books of Moses, and writing Psalms. And what is the importance of doing both of them as opposites that complete each other. But before we go to this plane, I would like us to look at both names, Moshe and David. See what is their value, how do they come together, and why it is important for us to both write cognitive writing, like a letter, like an essay, but also to express ourselves in poetry or writing songs. Moses, wrote the Torah, the 5 books of Moses. His name, Moshe, is written with 3 letters, Mem, Shin, He. The value of Mem is 40, the value of Shin is 300, the value of He is 5. So together the value of Moshe, 345. When we write the same letters in a different order, it gives us the term Hashem, the name or the essence. When we recognize something, we give it a name, a table, a chair, a spoon. Once we define an object, in a definition, there's the essence of the object that we define. Now, Moshe in us, Moses in us, is the one who calling things in their names, in their essence, like Adam in the Garden of Eden. He puts things into perspective. He orders the words in a structure that make sense, that makes harmony, reason, and mathematics. This is Moses in us, Hashem, the essence, the aspect of the sun in us, the solar system in us, the reason. And this aspect in us comes into practice when we write letters, essays, books, communication between officers, friends, and so. Now, there is another aspect of us, an aspect of David in us. Let's look into this perspective and look into this name first. The name David is written with 3 letters, Daled, Vav, Daled. The value of Daled is 4. The value of Vav is 6. Together they make 10. And another Daled, which is 4. Together they make 14. 14 is also the value of the word hand in Hebrew. Yad. Yad is a hand, a palm. And since we have 2 hands, hand and hand, yad and yad, 14, and we have 2 hands, the value of our both hands, yad and yad, hand and hand, is 28, like a moon cycle. Moon cycle consists of 28 days in general, or 4 double 7 in mathematics, 4 weeks, that each week contains 7 days. This is a moon cycle. Now, David in us express the unconscious, the night, so to speak, the unreasonable aspects in us. Sometimes when we look in poetry, we don't find any reason in it, like different words coming together, making some kind of strange mosaic. What does this line has to do with the other? And this is the whole essence of poetry. Poetry does not make any reason or sometimes any sense. But in its broken pieces, it can express realities that do not exhibit themselves in the light, in the conscious, but they live in the dark, in the unconscious. And this is what poetry does. This is why poetry is so concise and minimalist, because it's like a brush that strikes onto a whiteboard with a certain kind of tempo that expresses the essence of things as they come from the origin. Why it is so important for us to be like David, or let David in us express himself in a poetry. Why it is so important. Most of us rather spend time in the sun or in the conscious world. Everything is illuminated, everything has a button, everything has a result when you click a button, and everything is timed and has beginning and end. This is where most of humanity like to spend its time, in the predictable, known life. But this is only one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is the unconscious, or the unknown, or the infinite, or the origin of things. The origin of things is never revealed. It is always concealed. But this is where the big stuff is happening, in the dark. And I would like to give a little attention to this darkness mode of our lives. We are living in a very interesting century, the 21st century, according to the common era, when each and every one of us has a smartphone, access to video, to music, to database that none of us had before. This access to the revealed life not just creates a lot of noise, but also creates a distraction. It takes a lot of volume, but a lot of distraction, because our attention goes out to what is out there, whatever there is. And once our attention is taken out of ourselves, our conscious is spread all over the place. To bring us back to the center, we go and experience dark moments and peace. How do we do that? When we have the possibility, we go to a space, it might be a bedroom or any other space that we can shade with blinds or curtains, with no screens or noises, no machines running in the background, and just rest in peace. It can be very little space. It doesn't have to be a big space, like private place, when a person can be only with himself or herself. It is very, very important to have this privacy / isolation, intimacy with oneself. We can close our eyes in the rest, in the dark. And in this moment when we are resting, the body is resting. In this moment when the body is resting and there's no need for the senses to go out and to find out if there's a threat or excitement out there, our senses are being withdrawn and we can express unity. In this moment, the subconscious or the unconscious throws at us many balls like thoughts, images, paintings, associations, all kinds of marveled things. This is the wishing of the infinite to speak to us. The more time we spend in initiated darkness and silence, the more the infinite will be capable to speak to us. Why? Because we are listening. And while we're listening, many unknown doors and windows are open, and we can receive a communication which is not conditional. This is very important theme to remember. And this is why David says in Psalms, Uvalayla shiro imi. And at night his song is with me. The infinite song is with me or with us when we are in a dark mode, when we're listening, because his song is a communication, is a candle that comes to illuminate the night, the dark mode. The more dark moments we enable ourselves to experience, the better. The better communication, we keep our ears, our eyes, and all the rest of our existence. Also, poetry comes from the unknown, as creativity also comes from the unknown. How? We go for a walk and we hum, ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. I see a tree, I see the sky, I see a bird, I just say words that I see, and suddenly, if we are enable ourselves to open our mouths, not to listen to with the earbuds to something, just to go in nature and to describe, just to open our mouths, like David says in his Psalms, Adonai sfatai tiftach. Adonai is the name of God, 65. Sfatai tiftach, open my lips. Ufi yagid tehilotecha, and my mouth shall express or say your glory. So how do we practice to open our lips? Adonai sfatai tiftach. How do we practice this verse from Psalms that David writes? We just take a walk or being somewhere in a private mode and we say, there's that, there's a cat, there's a crow, and while we're just describing, so to speak, unconsciously like a child, comes a tune or a humming, and this mist that comes from us, from the inside, is able, as a tune, as a lullaby. It comes from the infinite, it comes from the unknown. Once we let it out, we open our lips and let it out, worlds are coming from there. They're not coming from the conscious. They are coming from the unconscious. And the more we hub, dub, mumble, gibberish, tuning, mooning, the better. While we take those melodies, hums, tunes from our lips out, there's a complete process of healing that is happening in our bodies. Our bodies is like the body of the guitar, and while we are humming any kind of music or tune outside, our body is like a vessel, and when we are humming, the strings are moving and there's a healing process happening while we hum or dub. It is very important. It might sound to the judging mind as a gibberish or mumbling song or drunk person poetry, but it's beautiful to look at it. It's the first draft of which we can later maybe record and put and sort it a bit, but it's beautiful. Working with ourselves expresses our other part, not just the cognitive part, but also the unconscious. And it is very important to experience this. It's like experience of a child. We are being children by doing this, because a child does not have yet the language. So he says, this is a bird, this is a sky, this is a moon. And there's a lot of space between those objects because we're not aware of what is there between. So this is a great infinite space for creativity. Now, what is the importance of being both as Moses and to express ourselves as David? As I said before, the value of Moses is 345. The value of David is 14. Together, they make 359. With the one that connects us all, that binds us all, it's 360. Once we express ourselves as Moses in a cognitive speech, in a cognitive writing, and we express ourselves as David, as a chauffeur of the unknown, of the realm of dreams, of the darkness in which in the previous century we used to develop film in the darkness. To develop film of a camera, we have to enter a dark room, otherwise we cannot develop it. In the same manner, it is very important to activate the David part in us. Once we put both of them together, the 345 of Moses, the 14 of David, and the one who binds us all together, we have 360. This is a complete cycle. This is the infinite. And this is the meditation I would like us to have for the day. Have a beautiful day and wonderful year. Thank you for listening to Bible Stories as Blueprints of the Soul, your Biblical Hebrew podcast. For more information, articles, videos, and interactive classes, please visit hebrew.learnoutlive.com or join our YouTube channel. Shalom v'chol tov.